Whenever you go to a black cookout, you're going to play some spades. So let's talk about calling a spade here today. The truth of the matter is voter suppression ain't about everybody not voting. It's about some of us not voting. Some folks want some Americans to vote and other Americans not to be able to. And why is that? Because there are some folks in this country who would like to take us back. When folks talk about America being great again, I oftentimes wonder what time in American history are they talking about? You know it. We got to call a spade a spade. Voter suppression is about making sure that some of us can't raise our voice. It's about making sure that some of us can't decide where our children go to school. It's about making sure that some of us can't decide the gun laws that happen in our communities. It's about making sure that some of us can't get health care. It's about making sure that some of us don't get paid family leave. That's what voter suppression is about in this country and my Commonwealth and across states across this nation. Let's talk about what this is really about. Voting is about power. Those who win the vote get the power. And when they get the power, they get to do what it is they want to do with that power. And for far too long, our votes have been silenced to give others the power. But one of my mentors used to say, power to the people, because it's the people's power. And I'm here today to stand in solidarity and let you know that the great people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Guzman and Malcolm and Danilo and Nancy and Dan Williams, look, we're going to go wherever it takes. We're going to be wherever we need to be to make sure that our voice is heard. Because when our voices are heard, our children get the quality of education that they deserve. When our voices are heard, we get the health care that we deserve. When our voices are heard, we get the type of policing in our communities that we deserve. When our voices are heard, we get to stand and be Americans. Understand something. What happened in this Capitol was about not just stopping a vote, it was about destroying the experiment. It was about destroying the future of this multicultural country that so many of us are proud of. It was about going back to a history that oppressed far too many people in this nation. So that's why this is important. Because your life and my life and the life of your unborn children, your unborn grandchildren, those lives are on the line when we talk about voting rights and voting suppression. So yes, recess can wait, but democracy can't. It can't wait because my mama's life's on the line. It can't wait because my unborn children, their lives are on the line. That's why this cannot wait. And we ain't gonna let it wait. I'm from South Philly. And when you put somebody from South Philly in the corner, we know how to fight. So I tell anybody who wants to take away my votes, if you want to take it away, you better come ready to fight. And it's a whole lot of state legislators, and we ready to fight as well. Because recess can wait, democracy can't.
Once again, let's thank our legislators from New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And now I'm inviting up to the stage Representative Omiria Scott from Mississippi, Representative Crystal Matthews from South Carolina, Delegate Mike Pushin from West Virginia, Representative Manny Espitia from New Hampshire, and Senator Natalie Murdoch from North Carolina. Give them a round of applause.
We thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here today. Being from Mississippi, the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act both have a very deep meaning for us. You see, our people in Mississippi understand the importance of federal intervention when the democracy of this country was at stake. 156 years ago, this United States Congress passed enhanced federal policies that allowed black people to own property, to build businesses, schools, hospitals, and churches. Black people used these 13 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days of Reconstruction to improve their social and economic situation. This change could only occur because black people had the freedom to vote. Here we are, 144 years later, and this republic is being threatened by the same forces espousing the same 1860s views and values of the use of terror and violence, and employing our state legislators to bring the political capacity to attempt to take away our voting freedoms. My state, Mississippi, has already revived that old blueprint of Jim Crow tactics, black codes, and a complicit state government that passes laws which are designed to impede the freedom to vote. So it is no surprise today that the state of Mississippi has some of the strictest voter ID laws in the country, that the state of Mississippi has some of the strictest absentee voting processes in America, that the state of Mississippi has the highest felony incarceration rate of black men in America, which causes them, in many cases, to lose the right to vote. We needed federal intervention in 1865. We needed federal intervention in Mississippi in 1965. And we need federal intervention in Mississippi and all over this country in 2021. Mississippians have fought too hard and given too much just to have the freedom to register and just to have the freedom to vote. There's been too much hurt, too much blood, too much pain, and too much death for those of us in Mississippi to turn around now. Schwerner, Goodman, Malcolm, and Martin gave too much to be on the right side of history. So we know today, for these people to be on the right side of history in the United States Senate, recess can wait. But let us not forget that there were others who were on the right side of history. Herbert Lee, who was a farmer in Amite County, who was killed by a Mississippi state legislator, E.H. Hurst, shot dead, and the young man who testified against him was killed in his front yard, and his name was Lewis Allen. We have to do these things in memory of these people, and that is why recess can't wait. Recess can wait because Henry D., who was 19 years old, and a mill worker, and Charles Moore, who was 19 years old, a college student, were out registering people to vote. The last time they were seen, they were buying a hamburger in Franklin County. The next time their family members saw them, they were wrapped to a motor in chains dragged out of the Mississippi River. You can't tell me that these folks over here have not had to, must recognize that they have to work to vote to pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Act. Recess has to wait. And then finally, Lamar Smith and so many others. But Mr. Smith was trying to get people to vote absentee to protect black people so that they could vote in secret and in private and would not be intimidated. He was killed in front of the courthouse steps in the county where Cindy Hyde Smith is from. So I am encouraging all of you. I am calling on Cindy Hyde Smith and Roger Wicker to support these two initiatives, and in memory of all of the blood, the hurt, the pain, and the death in Mississippi. Stay over there and do your work. Recess can wait.
Good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon. I am Crystal Matthews, and I am from the great state of South Carolina. I represent District 117, and I am here today simply to encourage those of our brothers and sisters that are in the Senate to stand their ground, keep their back strong, and fight for what we have elected them to fight for. I am here to encourage all of you to stand your ground back home. Like they say in church, this country will be what we make it. We can't leave it up to somebody else. A lot of times we always think it's going to be somebody else, but today it is going to be us. We have to make sure that when we go home, we touch a neighbor, we tell a friend, and we stand up for the rights that we were given in the Constitution. When we talk about voting rights and when we talk about barriers to voting, the groups that I see here are the ones that have always had barriers to voting. So let's not kid ourselves. This is no new thing for us to fight, right? Women have been fighting for the right to vote. Our elderly community have always had a problem with voting. We've had young people that don't know how to vote when they're at college and their ballots are cast and not counted. And then we talk about minorities. I say something all the time, and I want to share it very briefly with you all. Stop letting them use your face and not your voice. When it's time to campaign, they come to get you and take pictures with you, but they don't want to actually hear what you have to say. They want to use your face on their campaign materials, on their websites, sometimes sneaking a photo while you're talking and don't even know they're using it. But don't let them use your face and not your voice. Take that with you and keep fighting. Recess can wait, but our democracy cannot.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mike Pushkin. I'm the caucus chair for the Democrats in the West Virginia House of Delegates. And I'm joined today by my colleagues, Delegate Cody Thompson and Delegate Kayla Young, also from the great state of West Virginia. West Virginia is not just a beautiful place with the friendliest people in the world. We also have the good fortune of being represented by our senior senator, a senator who truly understands the importance of voting rights and protecting them. He understands the importance of the freedom to vote in our democracy. Because Senator Manchin was not just our former governor, he served as our Secretary of State as well. So as the former chief election officer for the state of West Virginia, he understands the historic nature of this issue that brings us here today, the importance of free and fair elections. And while I may not always agree 100% with my senator, there is one thing we are in complete agreement on, and that is the need to always seek common ground, the need to bring more voices to the table, and the need to get the job done. So Senator Manchin, to his credit, has drafted a reasonable compromise to the bill in efforts to garner bipartisan support for voting rights. And as someone who has I have recently attended public hearings across the state of West Virginia, I'm happy to report that there is bipartisan support for the provisions in the Manchin compromise. And that support comes from the folks who the senator cares about the most, the people of the state of West Virginia. Because nobody outside of Republican leadership favors partisan gerrymandering. And nobody outside of Republican leadership thinks there's not nearly enough dark money in politics. So we can all agree that our constitutional republic can only exist if we keep our elections free and fair. The Manchin Compromise has bipartisan support. Well, not from the Republicans in this building, but from the Republicans and the Democrats in the state of West Virginia and every single other state in this beautiful country. So I'm confident that my senator and my friend Joe Manchin will seize this moment and break Mitch McConnell's stranglehold on our democracy and get the job done before the Senate breaks for recess. So I urge everyone attending to call Senator Manchin's office, thank him for offering this fair and reasonable proposal, and let him know how much we appreciate him standing up for our democracy. Let's get it done, and let's go Mountaineers.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was gonna say, are y'all alive or what? What's good? My name is Manny Esvitia. I'm a state representative from New Hampshire, representing the people of Ward 4 in Nashville, and I'm joined with my colleagues, Representative Ellen Reed and Representative Maria Perez. And New Hampshire is a beautiful state full of hardworking people. Most of y'all see it every 4 years for our First in the Nation primary. But when we typically go out, we vote. We're known for that, and we're active participants in our elections. But members of the New Hampshire Republican Party have made voting harder, and instead of making it more accessible, they have passed legislation to make it harder for students, for people of color, and others to vote. They have shunned vote by mail legislation. We had a chance to pass an independent redistricting commission last year in the last session, and the governor vetoed it. They passed a bill specifically to block the For the People Act in New Hampshire, which would be unconstitutional. They passed that. A bill signed by our governor, Republican Chris Sununu. And this is absolutely dangerous, but there is hope. Our congressional representatives and our senators are standing up for our democracy, and I want to thank Senator Hassan and Senator Shaheen for their support and being co-sponsors on the For the People Act. But this bill will deliver and make sure that citizens have access to the ballot, that they will end gerrymandering so that voters, not politicians, are picking their elected officials, and finally bringing transparency to help get dark money out of politics. So I want to thank the Texas electeds who put the needs of their constituents ahead of themselves and are leading the effort here, along with all of y'all who are here from all over the country. We need the For the People Act yesterday, but we can't wait any longer. Recess can wait, but our democracy can't. So thank y'all.
All right, how's everybody doing? I'm from the South, we say y'all. How y'all doing? Senator Natalie Murdoch, a daughter of the South, a North Carolina native, and I'm proud to represent North Carolina as the first black woman under 40 ever to be elected in our General Assembly. Also proud to have my colleagues with me in the House, Representative Candy Smith, Representative Ricky Hurtado, first Latino member of our General Assembly in the history, as well as Representative Pricey Harrison. I love my home state. Unfortunately, one of the perpetual black eyes on North Carolina is our history of racial gerrymandering and targeting black voters with surgical precision. And our state constitution still references a literacy test to vote. We are here today because in these times of Jim Crow 2.0, voter suppression is not as flagrant as it was when my ancestors fought. The fire hoses and attack dogs have been replaced with complex and oppressive laws fueled by the big lie that not only make it harder to vote, but harder for those votes to count. Now, anti-democracy legislators want to attack our board of elections and throw out valid ballots. They want to take these legal votes and simply throw them in the trash. My aunts and uncles marched alongside the ANT4 and led the 1960s Greensboro sit-ins and are still marching till this day to protect our right to vote. It's been 60 years and they are tired. They are tired. On behalf of these tireless advocates, I ask President Biden and U.S. senators to act now. The truth of democracy is that it's very fragile. It is founded and reestablished daily. Our freedom and liberty are not guaranteed. We must rely on eternal vigilance to keep it alive. I stand proudly today not to romanticize the past, but to fight to ensure that this remains the land of the free and the home of the brave. So again, we say to the U.S. Senate, recess can wait, democracy cannot.
That's why we're here. We got you.
Once again, please give it up for our state legislators who just spoke. So I'm very excited to provide a musical interlude. And we have joining me on the stage is Shakira Rogers. She's an artist around here in the D.C. area that performs all over this region. She's originally from Philadelphia. I'm from Pittsburgh, and so I'll forgive her for being from the wrong side of the state. But no, I tease. She is a wife. She's a mother of two. She's a music teacher, she's an entrepreneur, and so much more. So please join me in welcoming Shakira Rogers.
Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Well, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Well, I'm walking and talking with my mind, yeah. Stayed on freedom. My Lord, I'm walking and talking with my mind, yeah. Stayed on freedom. Yeah, I'm walking and talking with my mind, yeah. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah.